Hi everyone. I thought I would do just kind of a little basic hula hoop video, kind of a how-to, and just the basics if you're interested in hula hooping and you don't have a hula hoop yet. Um, for one, if you're going to get into hula hooping, it's good not to use the store-bought hula hoops because those store-bought ones that you get at Walmart or Target, they're for little kids, and even little kids have trouble with them actually. Because they're just so skinny and light, and they're not usually the right height of a hula hoop for the child. Really, if you want to get into hula hooping, you need to have a hula hoop that's totally your size and curtailed to, fit your body. Um, so I actually didn't know this, and when I started hula hooping, I bought myself a couple of, I don't think it was from Walmart. I got them at a thrift store actually, but they were first from some sort of store like that. And they were actually shorter than my waist, a purple one and a yellow one. And I learned how to hula hoop on them, and I learned how to do a lot of, well, probably about 3 or 4 tricks with them and stuff. And I actually took them to a couple of shows. I was the only hula hooper there. Nobody had ever really seen anyone dance with hula hoops because I was going to blues, shows. So really, go to like an electro show, and the people will be like, oh, by the way, cool hooping, but this is what you need to do. But for me, it was just like nobody really was there to tell me what to do or how to do it. I just kind of picked it up and started grooving with the music, which is cool because once I realized I needed a better hoop, I was able to hula hoop with it right away, and I don't know, I could use my same tricks that I learned with a smaller, thinner, lighter hula hoop with the bigger one, and I could actually do more because I could, fit inside of it a little easier than the little ones. So, let's talk about size of the hula hoop then first. And before I started this video, I really should have grabbed some of my hula hoops. And I'm going to have to go in the other room for a second and grab them, but I'll be right back. It won't take me a second. Okay. I have a super ton of hula hoops, but I don't have a super different amount of sizes of them necessarily. I'm trying to show you these. Okay, so this one is the one I learned on. It's a yellow hula hoop. You can see that. And it, it's lower than my waist, which isn't good. This is the kind I'm saying that I learned on, but you should really not do that. This is the one I made for my daughter. She's 3.5 feet tall. And this is probably about 2.5 feet. Now, if you're a beginner hula hooper and you're just starting out, or even if you just know a couple of tricks, you're going to want a hula hoop that goes up when you're standing up, that goes up to about your chest. That's a really good length, or a really good height. You're going to want to go, when you get your material, which I'll talk about next, but you're going to want to go and get PVC pipe in the plumbing section of like a Lowe's or something like that, and you're going to want to get 100 psi 3/4 of an inch. Intermediate and also advanced use those as well. Sometimes advanced makes up for, they make them a little bit skinnier but a little bit more dense for their hoops, or they make them a little fatter and a little lighter. It just depends. But when you're more advanced, you kind of can experiment with the different weights and see. Now, some people say, well, if you're advanced, then you very strictly need a heavier or a lighter hula hoop. Well, I'm under the impression that everybody's got different bodies and different weights, and if you're a heavy-set person, you might not necessarily want a huge heavy hoop, or you might not necessarily be able to hoop with a really light hoop. So, I think it really depends, and I think as you hula hoop, you should make yourself several different sizes and experiment to see, after you've been hooping for a while, which one is best for the kind of hula hooping you want to do. you know, if you're going to be doing hand tricks, if you're going to be mostly hooping outside of, or doing outside of the body tricks or inside the body, or both. So, my hula hoop that I first, my very first hula hoop I ever made was actually not even circular. It was like kind of, whoa, power surge. It was actually kind of like a oval a little bit. It was almost circular. It was like this. And I didn't realize it until I did a bunch of tricks on it. But, you know, mine was like this big, like it's supposed to be when I first started. And then I made another hula hoop. This is my favorite hula hoop. And it's taped, but it's also spray painted. But we'll talk about decorating later. And see, it's below my chest. So, this is kind of like an intermediate hoop, I'd say. Intermediate hoops can go down a little lower, too. But again, that's kind of an opinion-based thing. You know, I like them not to be gigantic. I do have a hoop that's like up to here on me, and I actually let people that are taller use that one if I'm out. I always take extra hoops, actually, because people usually are interested in trying it. But anyway, this is the one I just made recently, too, and this one is my sky hoop. I call it my sky hoop because I painted it the color of the sky with light blue and white clouds. It's kind of hard to see the design in it, but then when you turn it around, it's my sunset hoop, kind of my sunset sky hoop, because there's pink sunset colors in it, just splattered throughout, kind of like the sky would be at sunset with the blue and the pink. Now this hula hoop is lower than my other one. This one is definitely an intermediate because it's this low. My other one's about right here. My beginner hoop's about right here. Now when I make an advanced hoop for myself, which I don't have right now because I'm not really an advanced hula hooper, but when I do make my advanced hoop, so to speak, advanced hoop, again, you can have it any size you really want, but eventually I'm going to try to experiment with one that's about so big. And I actually just made my daughter's friend, who is about that tall, or not about that tall, but a smaller hoop that was about this tall on me, and I was able to hula hoop with that hoop too, but probably because I learned on a not so great hoop. Get my chair back. Okay, so now that we talked about height, let's talk about maybe how to make them. That would be a good place. So what I was saying before is you need to go to the store and you need to get PVC pipe that's 3/4 of an inch, 100 psi. And it comes in a bundle. You can't usually get it. I've never seen it in like just one strip. You have to get it in a bundle. Now when I got my bundle, the smallest bundle cost $19 at Lowe's. It was like 18 something, but basically $19. The next thing you want to do is get a connector. And I kind of forgot the name of the connectors, but I'm going to show you one so you know what they look like. You can get a box of them, or a thing of 10, or you can get them individually at Lowe's for 33 cents a piece. So you want one of these, which are right next to the PVC pipes, and you want PVC pipe. Okay, so you want to make sure that this is the same size as your PVC pipe, so 3/4 of an inch. You can also get PVC pipe in a 1/4 inch too, or not a quarter, 1/2 inch too, and then you want this to be a 1/2 inch, and still try to stick with the 100 psi. So your next step is going to be to get your PVC pipe home, and then unwrap it out of its packaging, and then take a piece of it out. And it's kind of hard because it's all coily. Actually, it's not very hard. It's just kind of weird. And you take it out, and you want to measure it to see how big you want it, so that you know the size to cut it at. And, you know, if you're beginning again, you're going to want it to be in a circle about here. So then you want to take a sharp knife, and I actually have a Swiss knife that works great. The rest of my kitchen knives didn't work. But you want to take a knife and you want to cut it. Be careful not to cut yourself. And then as sharp of a cut as you can, really, so that it's, even. Mine never have been even cuts, but luckily they've always been like opposite slants, so they kind of they can slide together when I put it together. Now you'll notice if you try to put this connector in the end of the PVC pipe to connect both sides, you can't, because it's the same size. It's 3/4 of an inch. So it's not going to go in. So this is when you get a pot in your kitchen that you don't necessarily love for cooking, although you can clean it out. And you get a bunch of water in it and you boil it. I would suggest a taller pot so that you can have taller water in there. I tried it with shallower water and it was harder to do, way harder to do. So, you know, you want at least like, I don't know, like that much water in there. So even if you have to get a bigger pan because that's all you have and put a bunch of water in it, then that's fine. And you can clean it out, you know. Okay, so then you want to take your PVC pipe. And I'm actually going to go grab my PVC pipe, one that I haven't decorated yet. Okay, I also found a piece of PVC pipe that I have. It's not big enough to make a hoop, but this is the PVC pipe that you're going to get. And written on it, actually in little letters, will tell you that it's 100 psi, 3/4 of an inch. Really easy. This came in a big coil. So you're going to take your end, right? And you're going to boil your water on your oven first. And once the water is really hot and boiling and steaming, you're going to stick this end in the water as deep as you can get it. You want to try to have a couple of inches, like 4 inches or so. Longer than this would be if it was halfway in there, like double that length. And you're going to leave it in there for probably like 3 minutes, really. I've tried to pull it out. You'll know if you take it out too soon. You know, have your little connector with you. Pull it out after you think it's been in there long enough, and take this end and push it in. And you got to use a lot of strength sometimes to push it in. And you push it in really hard, and it's soft. This gets really soft. Sometimes if you leave it in the hot water a little longer, it goes a little easier. And you want to put it in halfway. There's a little line that marks halfway on there. See? Price tag still on this one. So you push it in halfway, and then you flip your PVC pipe around to the other end and get this one really, really warm. And then what you're going to do after it's hot, maybe a little hotter than the other end even, you're going to take your two ends, and this is too short to make a hoop, it's probably going to break it, but you're going to like take your two ends and you're going to connect them and put that other end in this that's sticking out of the other side and push it together so that the ends slide together. And you'll have a circle. Like this one. It dries pretty quickly. This is one I haven't decorated yet. It's short too. Okay, so after that's all the way dry and you have your pieces together, it only takes like literally like 2 minutes to dry, really, or 3 minutes. You want to decide how you're going to decorate your hula hoop. Now, there's different tutorials on YouTube that explain really good ways to do it with the proper hula hoop tape, and where to get the hula hoop tape, and exactly how much tension you need to properly wind it around, and how you do different colors to get it totally smooth and perfect. I personally don't have, well, at the time I made my hoops, I didn't want to wait for the mail to come and get my hula hoop special tape and all that, so I bought different colors of duct tape, a few different colors, and I combined them, and then I cut them into strips, kind of, like small strips, and then I just went around, and it wrinkled as I was going around. It was not perfect, but I don't really care that much if my tape is perfect. I don't know. When it's spinning around me, people don't really see it. Maybe a professional hooper would be like, what are you doing with that kind of hoop? It's not properly taped. But, you know, if they have a problem with my non-professionally taped hula hoop, I think that's more of their problem than mine. Duct tape gives a really nice grip all the way around. You don't have to worry about buying 2 different gripping tapes. You could put ribbon around it too if you want to. I haven't tried ribbon yet. And this worked really well. I also experimented with spray painting a hula hoop. that I should have known before I tried it, but I still tried it, that if you're going to be hula hooping on cement or anything and it drops to the ground ever, you're practicing, it's going to chip off real fast. So you're going to see the black come through right away. Another thing is eventually the inside is going to get worn. This one I haven't hula hooped with too much, so it's not that worn. But it is scratched up on the outside because it got knocked around a little bit, and I could just scrape it off with my fingernail, So it's not really that great. I still like this hula hoop. See, I just peeled this piece off. So then I tried taping a hula hoop and spray painting over the tape, and that worked. It worked great, actually. I haven't had a problem. Now, if I tried to do a perfect design with paint over tape, then I might have a problem with the design coming off. But I'm one of those more abstract people where I like color a lot, but I do like some order. Some order, not totally just splat paint, but my order kind of comes abstractly too. Like, my favorite hoop here, this rainbow one, it's got tape on it that I taped it with, and then I went over on one side of it, which actually is this side, and I took some bright pink and bright blue, 2 shades of blue, light blue and dark blue paint, and I paint splattered it, and I didn't just go pink evenly and blue evenly. I did pink and then some blue and then some light blue back over on the pink side and then some pink and blue, and made it kind of interesting looking. And what I found is the paint is sticking a lot better, but if it does decide to wear eventually, because I use this hoop all the time, if the paint wants to chip off, you're not going to really notice it because, I might notice it, but somebody's not going to notice it because it's splatter painted on here. It's not perfect. And underneath is rainbow tape, so you're not going to see big old black marks on it. You're going to see rainbows coming out through it. Might be kind of cool to tape a rainbow hoop and then spray paint black over it and watch the black. In fact, I think I'm going to do that now. So don't steal my idea. No, I don't care. You can steal my idea. But I think I might spray paint black over it just so I can watch the paint come off and become a rainbow. I think that would be awesome, actually. I like things that morph and change, and that's why I have dreadlocks, part of the reason. It's neat, to see things grow and change. So anyways, yeah, you can tape them, you can ribbon them, you can tape and then spray paint them. This small one that I showed you, I actually wrapped with yarn. It took me a while, but I don't know, not really that long. I watched a movie while I did it, or a show or something. It's really neat, it grips well. My daughter uses this one. She can't really hula hoop around her waist yet, but I use this one for hand tricks. I have one that's just like it, but I use blue and purple and green, and the highlights are purple. So I have this one that's pink and 2 different shades of red. Kind of an orangey pink and burgundy red, and then I have one that's natural green, blues, and purples. So it's kind of neat when I'm doing hand tricks with them, because they're, opposites. Okay, so, I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's really it. It doesn't take that long to decorate a hoop. One other thing is price-wise, what you're looking at is, again, the PVC pipe I got made approximately 10 hula hoops, and it cost me $19, and that's rounding up. The connectors cost 33 cents a piece, and I think they had a deal where it was 10 for $3 or something. So 10 hoops, $3 plus $18, that's $21. The spray paint I already had, so I didn't buy that. But spray paint, costs anywhere from $2 for a small can to $6 for, it just varies. You don't need a whole can, of course. Well, maybe it depends, I guess. But, and then the yarn, again, I didn't even go through a whole yarn spindle doing that, so that didn't cost very much money for me, and I already had the yarn on hand. The tape was the most expensive part, probably, because you do go through a lot of tape. This hula hoop used 1.5 rolls of duct tape. and the duct tape cost me like probably $10 for both the duct tapes too. So one hoop, there's $10 in tape, plus, you know, you take 18 and divide it into 10, you got a couple dollars for the material. It's a lot cheaper, you know. I mean, it's cool to buy hula hoops from people that are selling hula hoops. It really is, because you're supporting an artist, so I'm not going against that. In fact, if you want me to make you a hula hoop for like $15, let me know and I'll make you one. But if you don't want to buy a hula hoop, go down to Lowe's and make yourself a hula hoop. It takes about a half an hour, you know, to make altogether, probably. Maybe an hour if you take your time, you know, or maybe longer if you need to let paint dry. It doesn't take very long. And it is a lot cheaper to do. I mean, 10 hula hoops for under $50 altogether, probably, you know. And the professional hoops you buy on Etsy, they're usually around $30. So a little less, sometimes a little more. I don't know, I hope this video helped, and I hope I didn't ramble on too long. Sometimes I get sidetracked, and I try to hurry up because I have a limit on my YouTube upload, so sometimes my videos are too long, and then I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna upload it then, and I don't do it over. Anyways, I hope this helped you guys, and happy hula hooping.